Ora, boas pessoal, bons dias, como estão todos? Espero todos porreiraços, estamos aí à porta do fim de semana. E então fica aqui mais um videozinho para sexta-feira, para quem estiver assim a ouvir uns sons de fundo. Está a chover que, nossa senhora, então é possível que fique aqui algum sonzinho na gravação. De qualquer forma, passemos aqui então aos vídeos. O primeiro vídeo que vocês têm aqui é um pouco assustador, porque é um rapazito que decidia passar uma noite a uma gruta assim no meio do mato, no meio do nada, e as coisas não correm tão bem como ele se calhar previu poderia acontecer. Então deixo-vos aqui com o vídeo, digo o que acham. Um abraço.
In 2021, YouTuber Matt Field spent the night in a dark cave in the middle of nowhere in Australia after his friend told him about an unsettling experience he had in that cave and dared him to spend the night there alone. Matt's channel is a bit more extreme than other outdoor exploration channels, and his videos often feature him leaving civilization behind and going to remote locations for days, living only off the fish he catches and the animals he hunts. In the video, he mentions that he didn't bring any water to the trip, hoping to find water to drink in the cave. After about 4 hours of walking, he finally finds the cave and climbs down the man-made ladder inside. Venturing deeper inside the cave, Matt crawls into the different holes he finds to see if any of them lead anywhere. Around this time, he started hearing a couple of rocks falling near the entrance and the sound of some sort of animal walking around. At one point in the video, he mentions he feels like he's being watched, and things get a little more disturbing at around 11 p.m. when he begins to eat his baked beans for dinner.
That is beautiful. Baked beans in a haunted cave. Oh my God. That was the sound. That is the sound. Did you hear that? Look at my arms. I got full goosebumps. It's the chains moving when I climb down the ladder. It's a big, heavy, thick chain. Wind can't move that. Holy.
When Matt recorded this video, it wasn't a windy night at all, and the fact that the chain is moving can only mean that there's someone or something down there with him.
That chain moved just then. It is 100% now. I heard it before. I'm 100% certain it's the chain that I walked in, that you climbed down into this cave on. It's moving. Now, you can't move that chain with wind. It's way too heavy. There is no wind coming in here. There's no wind even forecast. Holy. Oh my God. You must have heard that just then. Look at my arms, dude. Oh, this is fucked. Okay, well, I've got my backpack back on and I'm booting on out of here. I just heard a sound. It's not normal. It's definitely not a normal sound, and I'm scared. I'm not gonna lie. It's probably about 2 hours, 2.5 hours after I checked in with you guys, so it would be around 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, and that sound was not normal. I'm getting out of here.
After the creepy noises subside, he changes his mind about leaving the cave and decides to spend the rest of the night near the entrance. A couple of hours later, he reported hearing hissing sounds that sounded like human voices, but after walking around the cave, he couldn't find anything that could be making those noises. Aside from big animals, the worst thing that could have happened to Matt is to have come across a hostile squatter living in the cave, although it's unclear why anyone would want to live down there. Fortunately, he made his way out of the cave safely as soon as the sun rose, and never went back to that cave again. Roadie is a channel dedicated to off-the-grid living, in which the uploader usually posts videos about what life is like living out of his truck and traveling around the country. The videos are usually pretty cool, with an emphasis on the beauty of nature and independent living. But this particular video is a bit more disturbing than the rest. In December 2017, Roadie uploaded footage of an incident that took place earlier that year while he was car camping in a parking lot. At around 1:30 a.m., a hooded man started walking around his truck and taking pictures of his license plates. Because the back of the truck where the uploader was sleeping was pretty much pitch black, the man probably didn't see anyone in there and continued to suspiciously walk around the truck for several minutes, unaware that he was being recorded. After a while, the man makes his way to the side of the truck and tries to shine the flashlight inside, which is when the uploader decides to take action to protect himself and let the man know he's there. Immediately after the uploader bangs his fist on the inside of the truck, the suspicious man runs away. It's unclear what exactly he planned to do, but based on his behavior, it couldn't have been anything good, and he was probably planning a carjacking. Fortunately, the uploader was able to get away safely and spend the night elsewhere.
Bem, agora o próximo vídeo eu vos pergunto: alguém se lembra deste menino que está no vídeo, de nome Tom DeLonge, de um grupo que se chamava Blink-182? Muito fixe. Isto parece mais uma entrevista motivacional do que outra coisa, porque ele fala sobre frequências, aquelas frequências da motivação de não, se formos positivos, o universo arranja uma forma de nos dar as coisas, blá blá blá, uísque, chaquetas e mais alguma coisa. A gente também no fundo já sabe que as frequências existem, que são reais, até aí tudo ok. Mas daí criar algo só porque pensamos, isto já vos deixa mais ao vosso critério. Cada um acredita no que acredita, e pronto, não há nada como tentar. Pronto, para quem nunca tentou, pau, pensamento positivo, sempre ali, muito positivo ali, pumba. Porque por muito que eu pessoalmente já tinha tentado ali a frequência do Euromilhões, é incrível, deve dar sempre ali ao pé, mas não consigo afinar com o gajo. E pensando nisso agora, será que todos os vencedores do Euromilhões conseguiram alinhar a frequência? E não ficamos só pelo Blink-182. Vocês estão a reparar que o entrevistador tem uma cara, digamos que conhecida, pelo menos ao meu ver, se é pessoal dos anos 80, 90, provavelmente irá reconhecer a outra cara, a cara de um dos entrevistadores. É aquele rapazinho do Jackass. Quem é que se lembrou do Jackass? O Steve O, se eu não me falha a memória. Que tem um programa, era ele e o Johnny Knoxville, ou algo assim parecido. E havia mais 3 ou 4, inclusive um deles, uma pessoa pequenina, não é? O anão. E aquilo era uma malhinha daquelas à maneira, que aquilo era rir, e eles só faziam era cagar. Mas pronto. De qualquer forma, fica aqui o vídeo. Espero que gostem.
What's the significance of UFOs? Like,
they're not coming from, well, I should say it this way. The significance of UFOs is multiple parts, but number one, it's not what you think it is. It's not coming from other planets. The evidence doesn't suggest that.
Interdimensional.
Yes. And the reason is because time is parallel. It's not linear, or it's not like we start here and go forward in time. Time is side by side, which means everything in the past and the future is existing in this moment, but within different frequencies. So a civilization that's at the end of their technological cycle could build a submarine that changes its voltage and materializes in that same location, just into our timeline. And then fucking, okay. It's crazy.
That was well articulated. I like that.
So there's a consciousness aspect to this. Like, you have to think of like, consciousness is like, it's like the mind of God, you know? It's not a dude in a toga with a crown of thorns making Jupiter. You know, it's like everything you see is one band of frequencies. Yeah. The highest frequency is light, unified mind. The lowest frequency would be blackness, absence of love, absence of whatever. Right. And physical matter is somewhere right in the middle, right? So you have the ability to tune up higher or tune down lower, and behavior and all these things and time, and it all fucking comes together. But what it means also is that your brain is what's called a transducer. You're an antenna. Consciousness.
That's what I was saying to
Duncan Trussell.
Yeah, Duncan Trussell.
So you create matter, and when you think something, it creates it. And you're not reactionary to your environment. You're actually proactive, and you just don't know it. So it really matters what you choose to see and feel, because that's literally what's being created for you. And people don't know this shit. So when you're like really into some crazy shit, the universe will start creating things, and we just think it's paranormal. Yeah. Like, for example, at UCLA, they were studying poltergeist events, and they found out that you can see a book move on the shelf and it scares you. But if you see a book move on the shelf and it scares the shit out of you, that book will then fly off the shelf and try and hit you. So the more scared you get, the more shit starts happening. And they didn't know why. Well, the reason is you're a transducer of your environment. You're an antenna plugging into all these frequencies, and once you go, oh, that book is moving, it'll move.
Ora bem, pessoal, o ano era 1999. Quem é que se lembra o que é que andava a fazer nessa altura, nesse ano? O pessoal está aí, anos 80. Quem é que se lembra? Eu estava no meu 11º ano e saiu uma música dos Red Hot Chili Peppers, aliás, o álbum, para mim, dos melhores álbuns que eles lançaram, com várias músicas porreiraças, e o álbum chama-se Californication. Quem é que se lembra disto? Tanto o álbum como a música que traz novo álbum, também se chama Californication, tinham e tem um interior escrito espetacular, uma surpresa mesmo, uma surpresa enorme, porque aquilo é como se fosse a música Nostradamus, digamos assim, pois parece que conseguem prever um futuro, ou seja, a letra que foi escrita, ou melhor, provavelmente até foi escrita antes de 99, mas que foi lançada em 1999, fica a parecer que acertou uma catrafada de coisas. Eu vou-vos deixar aqui o vídeo, passou no programa do Joe Rogan, e que fala exatamente sobre esta situação. Pessoal, tomem bem atenção, porque a letra está claramente a descrever várias situações que se têm passado ao longo destes anos, e eu penso que nem é uma falha mínima, porque acho que eles acertaram no bucho, mas pronto, é como eu vos digo, nós tratamos também, não dizia as coisas diretamente, mas as indiretas que eles diziam eram muito certeiras. Portanto, esta música é tal e qual, muito certeira. Espero que gostem. E já agora, antes de ir para o vídeo, no final do vídeo mesmo no YouTube, das passagens todas, mesmo no finalzinho, eu vou-vos deixar aqui um miminho para matar aquela melancolia dos anos 90, e espero que gostem. Óbvio, terá a ver com esta música dos Red Hot, então, pessoal, espero que gostem. É um miminho da parte final.
Dude, if you really sit down and listen to Californication, it's wild how much of that song has come to life. Jamie, just play a little clip of that and pull the lyrics up. Listen.
It's the edge of the world in all of Western civilization. The sun may rise in the east, at least it's settled in a final location. Hey, Sergeant Barrow.
they are talking about Instagram.
Out getting high on information. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Elderon's not far away, it's Californication. Firstborn unicorn.
Bem, neste próximo vídeo vou-vos trazer aqui uma teoria marada que ao longo do tempo que vai passando vai-se achando cada vez menos que se calhar não tem assim tanto de marada quanto isso. Há a ter um fundo de realidade, porque à medida que se vai fazendo mais estudos vai-se percebendo algumas situações que talvez estejam encaminhadas por aqui, por esta lógica, por este sistema. E estamos a falar do quê? Estamos a falar sobre algo que já intriga a humanidade há milhares de anos, que são as grandes pirâmides do Egito. Ninguém sabe como as construíram, na verdade nem tem a certeza de quem as construiu, e os anos vão passando e as dúvidas permanecem. Eu penso que o governo egípcio prefere abrandar ou bloquear mesmo os estudos às pirâmides, porque isto é a minha opinião, obviamente cada um há de ter a sua, mas como é um ganha-pão, digamos assim, uma entrada de dinheiro, um fluxo de dinheiro muito grande, eu penso que eles preferem que se permaneça nesta dúvida, nesta incerteza, neste mistério, digamos assim, neste mistério, a gente pode talvez dizer assim, mistério, porque assim, se realmente as teorias pudessem ser estudadas, eu penso que seria muito, muito, muito bom a gente poder estudar e perceber mais sobre as pirâmides, não só do passado, como também do nosso presente e quem sabe até do nosso futuro, porque se realmente as pirâmides possam ter influência sobre algum sistema energético, mesmo a nível mundial, não seria ótimo a gente saber como é que as pirâmides trabalhavam? Eu penso que sim, eu penso que tinha lógica. Eu sei que provavelmente vai haver quem pense assim, mas as pirâmides eram para enterrar os faraós, certo? Ok, então porque é que nunca foram descobertos cadáveres ou múmias de faraós nas pirâmides? Esta é aquela pergunta dos 10 milhões de euros. Nunca encontraram lá faraós. Nunca. Túmulos, ok. Um túmulo ou dois, ok. Mas múmias propriamente ditas. E até pode haver a teoria, mas foram saqueados. Saquear uma múmia? Para quê? Qual a necessidade disso? O facto é que não faz assim grande sentido. Faz mais sentido cada vez mais aquilo que se vê, as cidades. A construção de uma cidade parece, se vocês olharem para a vossa motherboard do computador, parece uma motherboard. Daí a teoria que vai trazer agora no próximo vídeo possa ter ali um fundo de verdade. Portanto, depende da visão de cada pessoa, da forma de pensar de cada pessoa, mas de qualquer forma deixo-vos aqui o vídeo e digam-me se vocês acham que isto será mesmo transistores ou algo mais.
Transistors are one of the building blocks for all electronics. They're the on and off switch and the amplifier. So scientists at UCLA have developed a new kind of transistor that, instead of controlling the flow of electricity, controls the flow of heat. They're calling it a thermal transistor, and it could have more uses than just keeping computers cool. When regular transistors were first invented...
So since basically the thermoelectric generators are backwards compatible with PC hardware, well, after I figured out what the pyramids were, it led me to this. You basically take the heat and you transist it back into the system using thermoelectric transistors or thermoelectric generators. The pyramids are literally giant transistors. You have your CPU here, which is a giant single, it's just a bipolar junction transistor with a radioisotope thermoelectric transistor inside of it, which is the Ark of the Covenant, and it has an open arc. This would be the North Bridge, and this would be the South Bridge processors on a motherboard. So you have your CPU, your North Bridge, and your South Bridge processors. You have your CPU, your North Bridge, and your South Bridge. All of this transistor material is backwards compatible with thermoelectric generators. And the UFO that Bob Lazar talks about used perfect thermoelectric generators. It was a near perfect thermoelectric generator. It takes whatever heat and transits it into the energy, and it doesn't waste anything. And notice thermoelectric generator. This is the path that the ancients took. They took heat to transist it into electricity, whereas we take electricity and it creates heat as a byproduct, and we just try to sweep it out, which is a waste. See, Stonehenge, I guarantee this is a giant, it's just a giant thermoelectric generator. But it's decayed, a lot. But it's still got a lot of the crystalline material there. The Karnak stones, whatever they are, they emit energy. There's a resonance here. So whatever they are, whatever they were doing, was using solid-state physics. And the CPU is millions of transistors on a micro scale. This is just one heterojunction bipolar transistor, or thermoelectric transistor on a large scale. See, the Ark of the Covenant was a radioisotope thermoelectric generator. And it had an open arc, a positive and negative. But the open arc was on the top here where the heat source is. So the open arc itself would help heat it, while the bottom was in the sarcophagus that absorbed the heat. And the manna was radium, which caused people to have radiation sickness, and it glowed. And Aaron's rods were contained in the Ark of the Covenant. We use nuclear rods in our reactors. This would be the King's Chamber with the Ark of the Covenant in there with the open spark, or arc, or spark gap, because it's actually set up like a Tesla coil and a radio, because it's a transmitter and a receiver of energy, but it's also a nuclear power plant. It's also a gas discharge lamp, a thermoelectric generator, a radioisotope thermoelectric generator, a transistor. It's all of our things that we've diverged, all combined into one overlaid system. And this P-type, N-type material was 369, and there was gold. 3 is lithium, lithium-ion batteries. We use lithium for a P-type. Carbon we use for insulation, and an N-type we would use fluorite or fluorine crystal, because fluorine is the most electronegative element on the periodic table. So the Ark of the Covenant is in the nuclear room here with radium, because it's more nuclear than uranium. It's transisting the the energy into the casing. You have your cold queen's chamber, which is still relatively hot, but here's your hot alpha, your cold queens, beta, and they're coupled together with the transistor material of the casing itself, which is doped properly. This would be analogous to the Grand Gallery, which is the heat exchanger. This whole room here, actually steam was actually used here too. It was condensed in the antechamber and then reinflated here. The energy is condensed as nuclear radium, radiate, raw, sun god. And it was condensed, it was inflated through the casing and transmitted to the capstone, which distributed about 1.21 gigawatts of energy, literally. That's no joke. 88 in a capacitor, a thermoelectric capacitor. A nuclear power plant produces 1 gigawatt. So the pyramid uses a giant thermoelectric transistor to create wireless energy, the same kind that we would use, but it uses the heat and transits it and creates electricity, similar to how we use our nuclear power plants, and we get the same amount of energy as they did, but we use wires and they used wireless. So you can take Peltier modules and put these on your heatsink, and you can use that to absorb and transist that energy back into the system. Of course, you still need your cooler, but you can use a liquid or whatever. The potential difference between the hot and cold is what you want.
Bem, agora vou dar aqui um pack de 4 vídeos seguidos, e tem mais, eu depois, para não vos passar tanto, vou pôr o próximo vídeo que eu fizer para o YouTube, vou fazer a continuação dos vídeos. De qualquer forma, é extremamente interessante. Alguém descobre um buraco no meio da floresta, no meio do mato, e leva escadaria quase infinita salvo seja, até a um fundo interessante. Deixo-vos aqui o vídeo, vejam, a continuação irá à vida depois no próximo vídeo. De qualquer forma, isto é bastante interessante. Porquê construir aquilo ali? Qual o sentido? Qual a lógica? Qual é a função? Enfim, digam-me de vosso respeito o que acham. Um abraço.
That's what I thought it was the first time that I saw this the other day. I mean, it's out literally in the middle of nowhere, under this big oak. But if you actually take a look down inside, there are stairs down there. So I didn't notice this before last time I was here because I was in a rush and it was a lot darker out, but it looks like these stairs used to go up further, if that makes sense. And what I find really weird is that all the lights, these lights are on. So that tells me that there's still something active here. But then the entrance is so low tech. Is that it's just fucking strange. Kind of just looks like someone's going up but got cut off and buried. I don't want to talk too much, just because I can't really anticipate if anyone's going to be around here. I don't hear anyone, but the lights are on and I have no clue what I'm stepping into. When I was here on Wednesday, this, I think, was about as far as I got. I haven't gone any further than this. I sort of chickened out and ran back up to go home and get some more space to record my phone since I was really low. I'm gonna give it a go. So fucked. Let's go. You hear that? It just keeps going. It just keeps going. It's under a tree, but I don't think that would deflect that much water, so I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I will say it's starting to get pretty cold down here, though. I think he keeps going a ways. I see something shining. I'm just realizing I'm gonna have to walk back up all these stairs. Fuck it.
quem for ver estes vídeos, eu não faço ideia se vocês gostam de acampar, se gostam de ir para o meio do mato, fazer assim algumas avarias, mas a questão que eu meto aqui é, já alguma vez vos aconteceu algo parecido? Qual a sensação? Houve alguma filmagem? Tiveram receio, medo? Fica aqui o vídeo, pessoal. Depois digam o que é que acham.
April 2019, a YouTuber named Jason uploaded a video to his channel, Appy Mountain Trekkers, in which he recorded footage of his solo overnight trip to the mountains. His channel is dedicated to all things outdoors, in which Jason frequently uploads videos of his adventures hiking, camping, and surviving in the woods. In this particular video, his hike up to the mountain is pretty uneventful, and as soon as he arrives at the campsite, Jason begins setting up his tent and shows his viewers how he starts a fire as the sun begins to set. As he waits for the day to end, he tries his luck at spoon carving, and this is when he reports hearing a strange sound coming from the top of one of the mountains, but he writes it off as a bird or some other small animal and continues setting up for the night. At about 9 o'clock, he turns his camera off to go to bed, but less than an hour later, he wakes up to a strange sound that he says he's never heard before in his life. He mentions it sounded like some sort of guttural animal call, but because it came from pretty far away, he couldn't identify what it was.
I'm still rattled. I've never heard anything like that in my life. It sounded like a mix between almost like a pig, some kind of, I hate to even say it, but a pig, an ape, and the calls almost sounded like how the velociraptors communicate with each other on Jurassic Park. I've never heard anything like that in my life.
Still shaken after the rude awakening, he tries to go back to bed, but just a few hours later at around 1 a.m., he wakes up again to what he describes as the sound of something or someone circling his tent.
Whatever it is, it's close. You hear that? Whatever it is, it sounded like there was 2 or 3 of them, and it started on the other side of my camp, went around my perimeter.
If you look closely at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, you can see the reflection of what appears to be 1 or 2 sets of eyes as he pans his flashlight over them. Although there are many animals with eyes that reflect light at night, based on the fiery white color of the reflection, it's very likely that Jason was being observed by wolves or coyotes. Dogs' eyes will also give off a white reflection, but considering that it was around 1 a.m. when this happened, it's unlikely that a dog would be walking around in the mountains so close to his campsite. Coyote and wolf attacks on humans are rare, as both species tend to avoid human contact, but they can still become very aggressive if they feel threatened, especially if they have pups nearby. If this were the case, Jason would be in grave danger, but chillingly he doesn't even seem to notice the eyes watching him as he scans the area with his flashlight. Luckily, he went back to his tent and slept safely through the night. When he woke up the next morning, he recorded another update for his viewers, but he never mentioned the eyes that his camera had captured the night before, suggesting he might have never noticed. After this video, there were no additional updates on the incident.
Quem é que acredita que a NASA é uma gigantesca bola de teorias impressionante? Fica aqui mais uma teoria em relação à NASA, porque são tantas. Aliás, havia quem dissesse que NASA significava, como é que era? Never a straight answer. Exatamente. Nunca uma resposta concreta. E realmente eu concordo um bocadinho com essa ideia. Parece que eles teimam em não dizer as coisas exatamente como elas são, ocultando, transformando as situações e escondendo das pessoas, no modo geral, o que se passa realmente. Mas é apenas uma opinião. Digam-me o que é que vocês acham da vossa opinião e o que é que acham do vídeo. Um abraço.
And let's see just how evil NASA is. First, we're going to look at Earth's orbital speed around the sun. How fast does Earth move around the sun? 66,600 miles per hour, speed of the globe's orbit. Next, curvature in 1 mile squared. According to Pythagorean theorem, 0.67 feet of drop. 8 inches converted to feet is 0.66667 feet. Curvature in 1 mile squared, check. Earth's axial tilt, 23.4. But when you take 23.4 and subtract it from 90, a right angle, you get, believe it or not, 66.6. Again, axial tilt confirmed. Now let's take a look at the Antarctic and Arctic circles. Oh, would you like that? 66.6 degrees north and 66.6 degrees south. Now let's go over the diameter of the moon. This is a new one, I actually didn't know. It's 2,160 miles, but you take 6 times 6 times 6, there you go, 2160. The surface temperature of Uranus, well, there you go, negative 216, which is 6 times 6 times 6, 216. Oh, you thought we were done. Let's do Pluto's orbital velocity. Scroll down here. Oh, there we go. 666. Good morning.
Psychic spies from China try to steal your mind's elation, and little girls from Sweden dream of silver screen quotation. And if you want these kind of dreams, it's Californication. It's the edge of the world in all of Western civilization. The sun may rise in the east, at least it's settled in a final location. It's understood that Hollywood sells Californication. Hey, a surgeon very well to break the spell of aging. Celebrity skin, is this your gender? Is that war you're waging? Firstborn unicorn, hardcore softcore. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Marry me, girl, be my fairy to the world, be my very own constellation. A teenage bride with a baby inside, getting high on information. And buy me a star on a boulevard, it's Californication. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. In Cobain, can you hear the sphere singing songs off station to station? And Alderon's not far away, it's Californication. Born and raised by those that praise control of population. Everybody's been there and I don't mean no vacation. Firstborn unicorn, hardcore softcore. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication.
Por hoje é tudo, pessoal. Espero que tenham gostado dos vídeos. Este último em mim. Espero que tenham gostado deste último em mim. até amanhã, até sábado, até amanhã. Uma boa sexta-feira, um bom trabalho para quem está a trabalhar, e uma boa folga, umas boas férias para quem tiver de férias, quem tiver de folga, e até amanhã.